Hello, my name's Linda Martin, and today I'd like to show you one of our new products that's just come in. I've had these specially made and designed for us, and let me just pop something dark behind this so that you can actually see a little bit better exactly what we're looking at. So this is a little arch which can be used for bridal designs. Now we do these in a white acrylic and also the clear. But I haven't yet had a chance to tickle one of these up yet, so I thought, well, why not today? So this is very much me playing and seeing what we can come up with. So let's move that out of the way and we'll look at some of the things that I've brought in just to show you. So we have some sniglets. This is a mixture of colours, the light green, a little bit of white in there and some very pale pink. And these are a very fine granular material which can be used as greenery, really, just sort of little tiny trails here and there just to add the effect of foliage and some flowers. Now the other thing that I've done, I have this thing I make when I'm feeling bored, which doesn't often happen. I make loads and loads of these little roses that we sell in packs of 10 along with some little buds and leaves. Now these are really pretty and I thought we could use these to trim up this arch. So let's pop those down as well. I did bring a few filigrees home with me as well to work with. Just some little leaf filigrees, and somewhere there are, my favourites. I love these little ones. These are so pretty. So we've got those to play with as well. And when I was upstairs looking for something else, I came across a bag with some little plastic doves in. And as this is going to be a bridal arch, why not use doves? So those are also going to be applied onto the egg, or onto the arch rather. And then of course my usual, I know, I can't resist it, silk ribbons. I just have to use silk ribbons whenever I can. This is 4mm wide and pure silk. It's absolutely beautiful to work with. So those again can be put there. And then I also grabbed a little bundle of stamens as well before I left work this afternoon. So we'll see what we can do with these. And let's see what else we need. Just some glues. And I think we're ready to start. Oh, nearly forgot. I also grabbed the tray of butterflies before I left. Now these I make using the cold porcelain paste and tint them up using various paints. But these are really pretty, so I thought we might just use one or two of these on the arch as well, just to pretty it up a bit. So I think that's about all of the materials that I'm going to use. We may just incorporate some of the beaded sprays. They're there in case I feel like it. So lots and lots of bits and pieces there to go with, and I'm sure that you'll also find lots of things around your workrooms. So I'm going to start with putting some plastic down on my cover so that anything that drops will land on there. And we're going to start off by putting some of the sniglets onto the arch. So I'm going to be using my super thick tacky glue and my toothpick. Let's find the toothpick. Come out. There we are. Now this is about the only thing that will actually stick the sniglets onto things. And you'll have to bear with me because I've not tried tickling one of these up before. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to start by just putting some little trails of glue onto some of the lattice work. Maybe just fairly thickly, because we're going to press the sniglets in. And let's come down there. Okay, let's see what this looks like now. So we'll turn that on its side. And if I hold that over the bowl, most of the bits then will go back into the little dish. And already it's looking completely different. I'm just going to gently press that into place. I've got a little bit of white paint on my hands because I was mixing up some paste earlier. I may show you at the end how to make the butterflies. So we'll see how we go. Okay, let's have a little bit more on there. You can see how dainty and delicate this is. I'm going to take that, continue the lattice effect down to there. Oops, let's sprinkle again. So pretty. Okay, we can brush this off with a dry paintbrush later, get all the little bits out of the way. So that's one side. Let's do some at the top. So if you've got a big bag full of this stuff, you can always dunk it into the sniglets, like so. Might be a little bit easier sometimes, depending on the shape that you're dunking. And let's do some more down here. We do these in different sizes, and as I mentioned before, we also have them now in white acrylic, which is rather nice. If you hear some strange noises in the background, that's because they decided this week they were going to resurface the road outside our house. So there's been some very heavy machinery around, which has really upset our two dogs. One of whom glares out of the windows as if to say, "How dare you come along our road with that thing?" He's really quite a coward on the quiet. Anyway, at least they're quiet for the time being. There we are, a little bit more. Just gently tap. So that's a very tiny, delicate amount of the green. I'll just put a little bit, I think, round the edges here. As I say, this is the first time I've actually played with the arch to see what I can do with it. I've not really had a chance to create an egg yet to go inside, but no doubt that will happen. And because you tend to lose, if you're having it face onwards, you tend to lose the edges a bit, so I'm just going to do some along the edge. Just gently pressing in. Now you can actually see the edge of the archway better. There's also a little hole in the top here which you can use to actually hang your egg inside it if you decided you wanted to do that as an option. That could be very, very pretty. Years ago we used to be able to get a metal arch which had different lattice work onto this, and then the manufacturers decided to drop it, but a lot of people were using that for their bridal eggs. The only thing was it was quite heavy and quite clumsy looking. This, I think, is very delicate, the way that this has been made. Let's just, we do a much larger one as well. In fact, there's a whole series of new perspex or acrylic stands on our website. So if you want to go and have a quick look at www.lindamartineggdesigns.com, then you'll find lots of different styles of things there, including an absolutely gorgeous acrylic stalk, and you can hang a cradle egg from the beak, and that's been done in the clear acrylic, and the feathering on it has been etched, so it's really pretty and delicate looking. Let's just go trail that up there so that the back looks more or less the same. A little bit more. You don't have to be too precise with the gluing for this either. Now if you wanted to, you could do a little bit on the inside. I think we should. So that when you look from the inside you can just see that little bit of greenery. There we go. All good fun. This is so simple that even a child could do it. There we are. So let's just pop that down and we'll move the snippets out of the way for the time being, and just tipping the little bits that came off my plastic bag. I'll just be careful how I pick that up. Now what I would also think about doing was scattering some just at the base as well, but I think for now we'll just leave it as it is and we'll get on to doing something else. Now let's have a look. We've got this little filigree which we could use maybe as a background to one of the roses. So what I'm going to do is, again using the thick tacky glue. Now sometimes these roses actually are quite soft, so in the sense that you can actually snip at them and just take the back, let's just move that over a wee bit, just snip the back away. There we are. Whoops. And then we can take a couple of stamens. These you'll be able to get at somewhere like a cake deck shop if you can't get hold of them that easily. It's just something that I tend to have lying around. So what I've done, I've got two here and I've just offset them slightly so that one is longer than the other, and then I've folded that in half. Now you can use a tiny bit of beading wire if you want to hold that in place, but I think I might just get away with probably the Yoo-hoo glue would be better for this. There it is. Let's have a look. Okay, let's just pop a little bit there and then I'll just nip that together. Just hold it in place while it sets. There we are. Oh, almost. There we go. So maybe do a couple of three of those and get those ready. Again, just snip that between my finger and thumb. Now my fingers are sticking together, but that's not. That's better. Oh, we'll manage. We'll make it work, no problem. Okay, and just one more little cluster, I think, and that should be enough. This tends to stick more quickly than the thick tacky, which does allow you quite a bit of leeway in terms of setting time. But I want these to hold together more rapidly than that, even if they don't want to. There we are, that's better. Right, so now we've got some little sprays of stamens, and let's find my filigree. So I think we're going to fan that outwards a little bit more, and that we can glue in position on here. Now we may need to use the epoxy for this. In fact, I think we probably will. So what we'll do is we'll prepare this first. We'll get it trimmed up, and then we can add the epoxy afterwards. So I'm going to start with adding my stamens. I know this looks really messy, but you'll understand why shortly. So let's just add those. I'm going to just trim off the excess there and hope that they will hold together in the tacky glue. Oop. Bits fly everywhere. Let's leave it at 3. I think we'll have just 3 little stamens there. Let's take the next one, and again we'll snip off that 4th one. It's always better to have an odd number, and we'll just place that now into the glue like so. So there we have the basis of that little spray. I think it might look better actually at an angle like that. And then we can put on, let's see what we've got, another big blob of glue. Let's pop that in the middle. And we'll add the rose that we snipped back off earlier. Oops. There we are. Okay. Now, that's quite pretty, but we've not finished yet, not by any stretch. So that could go onto the side here, and obviously we can replicate that over the top and round the back. I want to just leave that to set for a minute while I mess about with some silk ribbon. So I'll just pop that there for now. Now then, silk ribbon, green. I think the very pale green always looks beautiful. I think when you add a touch of green to any design, it actually brings it to life a bit more. So what I'm going to do is just, I won't bother snipping it just yet. I'm going to just get my scissor blade and hold it very, very firmly at that end, and I'm going to pull quickly. Is that going to go? Can you see that lovely little curl at the end? Right, let's find the scissors that I know to be sharp. I'm going to just snip that off and just angle the end of that. I'm going to do a couple of 3 of these. Sometimes it will curl quite easily, sometimes it just doesn't want to play ball. Yeah, that's curling now. Again, just snipping the end. Just another little coil. Let's do 3. It's the odd number thing again. That's a beauty. Right, that's fine. we'll go with that one, okay. Now, I'm also going to make some little loops of ribbon, so I think, given the fact that's quite a deep pink, we can either go in with the paler pink, which would look quite pretty, or even, let's have a look at this one, let's just lift that up a minute. I don't know whether to go with that one or the pale. Lilac I think is going to be too heavy. I think we'll go with the very pale pink, because we're also going to be adding the green around that. So when I can find the end of my ribbon, I'm going to just hold that, apply a tiny little bit of glue just on the end, and then instead of just putting it straight down, I'm going to just twist that slightly. You see, that just gives it a little bit of life, gives it a little bit more dimension. So let's take that, pop that down with our other bits and pieces. We'll make another one. Just a little twist. I'm afraid using silk ribbon is getting to be a bit of a habit with me. Having said that, who cares? I think it does add to a design. It gives it that sort of fragility, I think, and just that delicate look. There we are. So that's 3 of those. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add those to the filigree. Where's my tweezers? I think I'm going to be better off using tweezers. That needs to be eased into position a bit more. Right, so I'm going to take, first of all, I'm going to take my loops, I'm going to pop those on. And there's plenty of glue on there, I didn't need to add any more at all. There we are. Where's my ribbon coils? There. Just take that over the top. And then one more at the other side. Just pop that into the glue. Now I'm going to just add a few little bits of sniglets again, just, oops, I've got a little bit on there. That's not going where I want it to go, so what I'm going to do is just pop a touch of, let's get it on the other hand, I'm just going to put a touch of glue here on the tip of the leaf, and then just get my tweezers again, just touch that onto there, and then I think we'll give it a third one, just a little one, which can hang downwards, and that can then be attached to the arch. We'll just add a few more little bits of sniglets just to hide the base of the rose where the ribbon is meeting it. That's better. Not the easiest of things to do when the stuff underneath hasn't set fully. Okay, right, where's my little bowl of sniglets again? Oops, I'm losing that end, that's it. And then just sprinkle, gently pushing in. There we are. So that's now ready to go on the side. I'm going to leave that to dry, and then we'll use some epoxy to pop it on with. So in the meantime, if I can find my paste, I'll show you how to make a butterfly, because I think it would be nice to have some butterflies on here as well. So we'll pop that to one side. I'm going to put it that side down because there's quite a big blob of glue there at the back, and I would like that to dry off a little bit more before I put epoxy anywhere near it. Now let's just get some of this glue off my fingers, and then we can get in a mess again by adding some paint to the paste. Actually, I've pre-coloured it with white, so I think we might just use some ink to tint it with perhaps, or at least I can show you and give you an idea as to how it's done. So I'm going to be using, so this is paint on here, I'm going to be using the Nicron paste, which is a cold porcelain paste. Very soft to work with. Let's just find the container and let's pop that there. So this is the Nicron. Okay, this is Argentinian. Beautifully soft. Really, really nice to work with. If you find that your fingers are going a bit, then this is great stuff because it is so soft. So what I've done with this, I've mixed up. I've just kneaded some of the paste a little bit. With this, you do need to work fairly quickly because it does tend to dry out easily. So I'm just going to put a little bit more white in. See. Now the reason that you put white in with the paste to start with is so that when the colour is added to it afterwards, you'll get that solid colour going all the way through. You can see here with the yellow one. Now if I'd have just added yellow paint to that, it would have been a very wishy-washy finish. It doesn't, the pigment of the coloured paint doesn't sort of go through the paste properly unless you pre-colour with white. And I was just using an ordinary white acrylic paint. Some people like to use oils. Personally, I find them a bit messy. I mean, as you can see, I get in enough mess as it is with things. So that's nicely worked through. If I decided that I wanted to do a coloured butterfly to start with, rather than tinting afterwards, then I could actually let's just take a piece of that off. And I'm popping the rest of it straight back into a polythene bag simply because it does dry out very rapidly. The air drying clay, this one, has what they reckon is about a 17% shrinkage rate when it dries out. Now I'm going to be using, let's do a lemon one. I know I'm not going to put a lemon one on this archway, but I'll just show you quickly what happens with the paste when you... So a little bit of yellow, and then, oops, told you I got in a mess. Got it on my board now. I'll just lift it off with the paste. Now I've not got much strength in my fingers at all, but I'm able to knead this paste beautifully. It's just so soft and lovely to work with. What I will do though before I actually start to do anything else with it is wash my hands or at least use a wet wipe anyway. So you can see now the colour is being worked right the way through the paste. If I was to be doing a leaf, I like a lemony green for leaves, and so what I tend to do is pre-colour the paste with white, then add yellow paint, and then go in with olive moss, which is rather a nice green colour, and that gives you, I'll show you in a minute, I'll do a leaf as well if I can find the cutters. So that's now ready to work with. I've not bothered to get the rolling pin out. I'm just going to literally pinch this between my fingers and flatten it. I'll just pop a little bit of that back into the polythene bag. Okay, so let's put that down there. Just get my hands clean. If you leave the paint on your fingers, there's a tendency for it to sort of, whatever you're making, to stick to them. That's much better now. There, that's good. Okay, so let's come back. I'm going to just literally work that between my fingers. You can use a rolling pin if you want. If you don't have a rolling pin, sometimes you can use a felt pen and just roll with that. Be careful if it's got lettering on it, because that can actually indent on the paste, and you get a pattern rather than a nice smooth finish. You can get this really, really thin. I mean, do try to work as thinly as you possibly can with this paste, because it will make a much more delicate finish on things. Some little bits of black in there. Whoops. Never mind. This is only just to give you an idea. So let's put that down onto the board, and then I'm going to take my butterfly plunger cutter. It's a plunger veiner, and this is going to go down. We're going to press that down onto the paste, just like using a cookie cutter, and then before I let go, I'm going to push this bit down onto my finger, and as I push it down, I'm going to press my finger against the paste. And can you see there's just that slight indication there of some veining, and when I let go, there you go, you've got a very pretty butterfly pattern on your paste. Now what I tend to do is get a piece of card and concertina it. So I've got rows and rows of little V shapes. Just show you quickly with a piece of paper. So I would just... Do you remember when you were kids and you made fans from pieces of card and went around pretending to be ladies? Well, it's sort of like that anyway. Okay, so you can do that, and then you can set the butterfly into the V, so that when it dries, you don't have a flat butterfly, but you have one with the wings beautifully tilted, like so. Okay, so that's really easy to do, and the butterfly veining is done for you. I'll just show you what happens as well when I add the green to this lemon paste. Let's pop that down there so that that can dry. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a shake up. So I have a tiny touch. Oops, I mustn't go too mad with the green. I might have to get the rest of the yellow paste out of the bag, but I think I will. I've put rather a lot of green on there, but this is going to give me a lovely shade of green for my leaves if I decide to add any leaves to this, which I don't think is really necessary for this particular project, but quite often you want to do some leaves as well. So we're sort of throwing in some extras here on this video just so that you can get some ideas for other projects. Maybe a touch more, but that is such a pretty green, as opposed to doing something which is that colour, or even worse, I've actually seen people use an emerald green for leaves, which looks absolutely disgusting. You don't see very many emerald green leaves in nature. What you do see are various shades of green, but definitely not emerald. So there we are. So that is actually quite a pretty shade. You can maybe do with a little bit more green, but let's crack on. So I'm going to just pinch out some of that nice and thinly, and then let's place that down. Oh, this is another little I've had these for years and they are so useful. So I have a little tiny veiner pad which I'm going to press the paste onto. Oop, there we are. And then, can you see the veining on there? Then I'm going to just pop that down onto my surface, and then make sure that you've got the cutter the right way up, otherwise you'll have a very strange looking leaf. I'm going to place that, let's just tilt that so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to place that over the top and press down, and there is my little leaf shape with the veining in the centre. I'm just going to literally give that a tiny little bit of help in the middle just to shape it slightly. And there, you can see how tiny that is. That's going to dry out and actually become a little bit smaller. But if I pop that next to one of my roses, it's actually quite sweet. So you could make some of these and then add those. I haven't got any with me that are ready made, but you could add those to your little display and that would look quite pretty. In fact, let's see if I can stick it on there. If I can find a little bit of glue to glue it in. Where's the tweezers? There they are. Okay, I'm going to twiddle that round and just place that into there, like, yeah, a bit difficult because it's still very soft, but that's actually quite sweet. So I could make another one of those and pop that on the other side, and I think that is actually better than, you know, adding that extra leaf is better than leaving it without. Right, so that's that. I'm going to make another of these sprays off camera, and then we'll come back and we'll get them epoxied into position and finish off the trims. Well, I've just mixed up a tiny amount of epoxy glue, which is just about ready to go off. So I'm going to just pop that on top of my arch, because what I want to do now is add one of these little beaded sprays. Let's just angle that upwards a little bit just to give it a little bit more height to the overall thing. I think it's going to be one of those cases of sit and hold it. But I also want a little gold leaf spray on there as well. Right, let me just wipe my hands again and grab my leaf spray. You have to be careful when you bend these because they are quite fragile. They will snap in the centre if you're not careful. I think we need a bit more epoxy on the back of that. So let's just pop some on there. Twiddle that round. I deliberately left the epoxy until it was nearly setting before I actually came back on camera, so that we're not waiting forever for this bit to dry. Let's just hold that in position. And fingers crossed that will actually hold. Just needs that little tiny bit of pressure at that side just to keep it pressed down into the glue. Don't move. I have been told in the past that I've got the patience of a saint, but if there's one thing I can't stand, it's waiting for paint to dry and waiting for glue to dry. So I'm going to have to be patient. And if you remember, when you're mixing up epoxy glue, don't try and pull at whatever it is you've glued in position to see if it's set properly. What you need to do is actually poke around at the area where you've mixed it up, and then you can see if the residue of the glue has actually set. So the other thing I'm going to do with this is make some more of my little ribbon loops and bits and pieces. I'm wondering actually if I can get another beaded spray to glue with that bit of glue. Oh, this is going to be clever. I'm going to try and do this one-handed now. This could be fun. So let's hold that there. This is where I could use an assistant, I think. However, I don't have one. Well, I do, but he's having a cup of coffee in the other room. So if I pop that under there, like so, that may actually set at the same time. Let's just grab that bit. You can see what I'm trying to achieve there. Just a very pretty little delicate spray on the top. That feels like it's starting to go off. I'm just going to have, oh yeah, where I've mixed it, it's starting to go really, really sticky. So we're nearly there. So I'm glad that I popped that bit on there now. It still needs holding for a little bit longer. We'll come back to that in a second. Well, my epoxy has almost set. And the reason I know it's almost set is because I've just put my forearm into it. Okay, so while I've got the additional leaf spray here, I've also put a couple of little sprays at the bottom as well, which we'll tickle up in a minute. So what I want to do first is take my extra ribbon loops that I've been making, and I'm just going to pop those in position on the top. Now these will be positioned slightly away from the centre this time round. Let's just pop that, let's bring it closer, let's see what we're doing. So we'll pop that there. That's the second time that I've managed to stick my forearm into the epoxy. I did that on another video the other day. So if you do get epoxy on you, wet wipes work. So again, pop that a little bit further away if I can get it to move. There we go. And then a third one. Let's do that. Like that. Now, twiddles. Where's my little twiddles? There we go. I'm just going to put a blob of glue on there. I don't think that will move if I try and add the glue. No, that's fine. And then the little loops can carry on down a bit further. Just going to put a tiny, tiny touch of glue on the edge there. If it's not coiled enough, you can actually twist it yourself as well. Give it a little bit more of a loop. Just touch down there. There we go. Let's find the other one. While I was waiting for the glue to set, my husband came in and he said, I thought you were only going to do a short video. I said, this is a short one. You don't know the meaning of the word short, he said. I thought, okay. But I'm sure you'd like to see as much as possible of what I'm doing. So if you want shorter ones, I suppose I could do shorter ones, but I like to make sure I've covered things properly. Okay, what else have we? Oh, there's one more little coil there. Can maybe have that hanging down the back. A little bit more glue. And that one in position. Like so. Now, rather than putting a rose at the top, I think we'll use the butterfly. We'll have a look anyway and see what we reckon. So there's my little butterfly. Actually, that doesn't stand out terribly well, does it? Let's see what else we've got. Got a purpley one. That might be going too far away from the pinky colour scheme. Okay, let's try that one. And we'll put some sniglets, I think, on there. I've also, while we've been waiting for the glue to dry, just added some sniglets at the bottom. I don't know whether you noticed that or not. Let's have a sprinkle, just to hide the ends of the ribbons, and then we'll pop the butterfly. Let's see which way we want him to go. Try and get him out. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll try and get it angled against that leaf. That's a bit better. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to do was just pop a rose at the bottom. Just pushing that against that filigree. Let's find another one. That's my bag of bits. No matter how many of these roses I make, I always run out. I'm just going to trim the back of that a wee bit. There. And then that can go there. And then I'll just, whoops, I'll just throw that across the room. That can go there, like so. And then I think what we'll do is we'll just pop a little loop. I think we need a green one. Green loop. Where's my silk ribbon? There it is. Okay. So let's just do a little green loop behind that. I could have made some more leaves, but then I've got to wait for those to dry as well. So just very quickly, what you can do as well is make a double one. So if you, let's get this right way around. So let's pop the glue on here and loop it and fold it over on itself. And then if you pop another little bit of glue on, not bother cutting it or anything, just make another loop like so. And then might as well make 3. Triple loop like that. Oops, where's my short ones? Okay, like so. I'm just going to move that rose so I can pop. Oh, there's probably enough glue there actually. But let's just pop that at the back. And then just that's better. There, that looks a little bit more finished, doesn't it? So what I'll do, we'll wait for those to dry for a bit, and then I'll come back and we'll attach the side panels and just finish off the bottom. Okay, but I think the top's going to be okay. I don't think we need anything else on the top. Anyway, I'll come back to that in a sec. Well, we've just about finished now. I've added the little trims that we did earlier to the sides. They're just about epoxied in position. I've added the extra loops of green ribbon at the base behind the little rose. And because I was a little bit worried about the colours on the top, let's just move those little bits of sniglets away. I've just added a touch of the slightly deeper pink coloured ribbon there. Now all we need is an egg to go in the middle, and I did find one which I'd already made. In good Blue Peter tradition, here's one I made earlier, and it also has the little butterfly, the same beaded sprays. I carried everything through. Well, I've actually made the arch to match the egg, if truth be known. So there we go. Let's just twiddle that round. If you want to, you could do sort of some more decoration at the back, but I don't think it's necessary. Most eggs are viewed from the front anyway. There we are. So hopefully that's given you some ideas for trimming up the arch. As I say, we do it in white, we do it in the clear acrylic as well. Let's just have a quick look at this butterfly. Look at that. Nicely set. That's almost hard enough to work with. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Do subscribe to our channel so that you find out when we're doing any more videos, and if you like it, please give us a like. Meantime, if you want more inspiration, go to our website www.lindamartineggdesigns.com. You'll find some seminar videos which are available to purchase, and also we have the quarterly magazine that I write on egg art called The Art of the Eggshell, which has a minimum of 3 patterns in every single issue, and loads more things. We've got books, videos, instruction leaflets galore, lots and lots of inspiration for your egg art. So please come and join us again. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and all that remains now is for me to go and get some dinner on the go, because the dogs are having a walk. My husband's going to be hungry when he gets back in, and I'll be thinking about the next video that I'm going to do. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye.